You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Sean Salisbury on Twitter, at Sean Unfiltered, host of the Sean Salisbury Show, and a guy you've been seeing doing media for, 30 years thereabouts. Sean, we appreciate you as always, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you see me and hear me okay? I just want to make sure my connection's good for you, brother. Everything good?
You're good. Loud and clear.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I was able to work with a future and Merry Christmas to all your viewers and listeners, and Happy New Year. I was able to, I spent about the last 5 days with a new recruit coming to your school, the 16-year, the kid, the quarterback from Florida.
Okay.
Colin. And I was the offensive coordinator for Houston Nuts team in the U.S. Army All-American game this last night and these past 4 or 5 days. All the kid did. Now, we didn't have much defense. That's not the point. He threw for 5 touchdowns and about 4 bills. And he's pretty good, man. And what a great kid. I'm sitting there staring at him and talking to him, and he's just such an engaging guy, and he can flat out rip it. So while he's young, the arm ain't – that arm's a slingshot, man. It absolutely explosive. So it was fun coaching him. So LSU fans, I think you're in pretty damn good shape in the future for a guy who will come in there and once he matures, and hell, he may not need to mature. That arm's as mature as it gets. But it was fun to coach him. Figured your fans and LSU fans would like to know what kind of player he is. And he was pumping seam routes and hit a nice over the top, made a scramble and about a 30-yard run for us. He was phenomenal. His throwing kept us in the game with, like I said, with no defense. We were shy because we had some injuries, and what a special kid he is. And he looks like should be, like he should be in the 9th grade. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's going to be fun to watch him play. He can rip it, man. So I love it.
So we've had Colin Hurley on the show before, and he's an impressive young dude, man. Just talking to him is impressive. Mature beyond his years. And he's a guy who reclassified, right? So he should be a high school junior, but he reclassified, so he'll be coming to college a year early. What if I asked you, Sean? And I'm so glad you went there. What physical traits really stood out about Hurley?
And I didn't mean to take your show the wrong way.
No, please. Your
folks would want to know.
Hey, man, this is way better than talking about Derek Carr. Okay, so please.
Yeah, well, yeah, and like, okay, we're losing Jaden Daniels. How are we going to find a way to replace? Right. I saw him last year at this same event, Matty, when I was the offensive coordinator last year. And I was fortunate to have a good player last year. That young kid that now plays is quarterback at Kansas State, their top recruit, is going to be special. He was our quarterback last year and the MVP of the game. And so I was watching him throw last year. They had a little throwing session for a combine for the non-seniors. And we were talking, myself and Noel Mazzoni was there and a handful of us, Josh Booty. And I'm like, man, look at this kid. How old is he? He's got really big, thick lower half, which great base. And it's an effortless – the ball, it sounds different. We were practicing it was on Thursday or Friday, and he threw a deep over route at about 18 to 22 yards as we ran like a naked boot and got him on the move. And he threw a ball that hit a receiver, one of our receivers who actually caught 2 touchdowns in a game on last night. That I'm telling you, if he wouldn't have had some kind of fortunate the ball didn't go through him. And it wasn't over ever, it hit him. It stuck to him like an Elway cross. That's what they used to call John when they put the cross on the guy's chest with no pads on. You come off, there's the Elway cross on the chest. There's a effortless, fluid throwing motion, and the ball sounds different. It's got that life on it without and it's not a ball that's not catchable. Some guys are just, oh my gosh, it's always 100 miles an hour fastball. In the game last night, we threw and we were trying to chase down. We were like down by 20 at half or 20. Came out in the third quarter and he started dealing. And my favorite thing about it, one of the traits you'll love, the first quarter, he looked like he was 14 years old because we were protecting him. We had 2 Ohio State recruits, left tackle, left guard, center's Missouri guy, right tackle's Michigan guy. And they had a guy that had edge rusher that was disrupting the game for the first quarter and a half. And he come in, was getting knocked around, and he came over there, and I didn't see any, panic in his eyes because we started extremely slow. And he came out in the second half and dealt. I love the fact that he went through all this adversity. Say, okay, how's he going to handle it? Well, second half, I think 4 of his touchdowns were in the second half. He throws a sail route that one of the coaches on the other team after the game came up to me and said, the way he layered it. So it's not just 100 miles an hour like he did. I thought the poor kid was going to have to get a trainer. I actually yelled it out, give me a trainer. I thought the kid's chest was caved in on the practice field. Well, he throws a ball that just drops in on about an 18 to 22-yard sail route, and it was a perfect throw that kept the drive alive. So the touch is there, but he can ramp it up to 100 miles an hour if needed. But it was his poise and presence, big, like I said, and he's got some sneaky escapability because he made a move, put his foot in the ground, and cut back and got us 30 yards in the game too. He's got a real good presence for a kid who hasn't seen a lot of football. It's 16, and yes, the classify, and he's not going to be 17 till March. But physically, you will never have the guy can throw it. He's going to continue to mature. He's big enough. He's really, really physically gifted at his age. But it was his presence and the way he handled the huddle, knowing that we were going to have to throw damn near every down because they jumped out and scored like in 4 straight possessions, and boom, boom, boom. Overcome adversity, huge arm, really good touch. And then he also hit the 3 ball, dropped a couple into the bucket on a deep route, and then we ran a naked down by the goal line. Our tight end went the wrong way on accident because in an all-star game that happens, an All-American game. He kept the play alive and threw a back shoulder ball where our Notre Dame recruit makes a catch going to the back pylon on a ball that he threw where only our guy could get it, going to his bad side, meaning the left, his side where it wasn't the easy throw where he had to square up his shoulders. So I know that's a lot of information, but I'm just telling you, you'll never have to worry about the kid's poise, and you'll never have to worry about if he can throw it. If you go shorts and a T-shirt and walk on there and go to camp and you watch all the guys throw, I'm going to tell you right now, he's not going to have to take a backseat to anybody throwing the football. It's just going to take time for him to learn what Brian's doing and to be, to get into the football IQ part of a new system. But I'll tell you what, and what an engaging kid. His eyes were on me the whole time when things weren't going well. And then when they started to go well, his demeanor never changed. I loved him, man. I consider it a blessing and an honor to coach these kids and work with great coaches and players. And he's been one of my favorites because he was attentive. He learned quickly, quick study. And if it wasn't for him throwing us back into the game, we would have been run out of the gym early because of the defensive injuries.
Hey, Sean, I'm curious. I'd really just like to keep exploring this. What would you say, because you got such an up close and personal view as the OC in this All-American game, and Colin will sign with LSU tomorrow. It's a guy we've been hearing about for a long time. What would you say that he has to work on?
I would say for him, for me, it's just going to grasp, realizing that. And I don't. Maybe it's us that does. Maybe it's us and not him. I would think it would be, dude, you're 16 and should be going to Sadie Hawkins next fall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At your high school in Florida. But there was a presence about him that was engaging. And I guess what I loved about it, and I'll try to get to something. And this isn't one of those where we're putting him in the College Hall of Fame and a Heisman Trophy winner as a 16-year-old.
Sure.
But I'm pretty. I don't want to say I'm a self-esteem builder, but in evaluations and talking to him, I'm transparent with them. When he got started in the game and got knocked around, I stayed away for a while because I knew, the first 2 or 3 years. And then we'd converse and say, well, how you feeling? Good. And if something happened, he'd go, yeah, coach, I saw this. They rotated that way, and was carrying on a conversation like a guy had been in football for a while, like you and I would, or like myself and Noel Mazzoni. It's going to simply be, so maybe this isn't even the existent part of it, is to realize that he's 16 years old, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that he doesn't have to be a superstar before he's on his 17th birthday in March. I'm trying to find, I guess maybe I want more time with him, but 5 days, you learn a lot about the study, the dedication. And what I loved, Matt, is when he came up to me when we started slow and got going, he said, I had a play call. We were down, I think 17 or 24 points in the middle of the second quarter. And he came up to me and he said, Coach, he goes, just let me, I said, we want to run the seam route. I can't remember what we run. And he said, no, just give me a hitch. Let me get a completion right here. Because he knew he was reeling a little bit, right? And I loved that part. And I normally would say that's what a young guy has to fix, is to deal with punched in the face, How do you respond? But he dealt with it great, because I had a different play call coming out of a timeout on a change of possessions, and I said, let's get this going. Let's start this off and play a little faster and maybe mix a little 2-minute in. So we changed tempo. He goes, let me get this completion first. He goes, let's get an easy one, and then let's start. So I'm thinking, oh hell, okay. What do you want? He said he wanted what we called spread right Houston. He wanted a hitch. We went out. He hit the slot with a hitch. 5 plays later, he's throwing we had the all verts against the single high safety, and he goes 3. And I said before the play, I said, make sure throw this ball on time, and we'll be okay. Middle of the field was closed, and he hits a seam route and throws about a 22-yard rip shot in the hole. And the guy takes it to the house, and I'm like, okay, he knew what he wanted. Awesome. I'm going to assume, Matty, that he was a little more patient than our coach on the sideline. We're like, how in the world are we down like this? But it happens, and I think it's probably going to be, I kind of mentioned it to him, the dealing with SEC football at Tiger Stadium, and that could be overwhelming. But you know what? I'm putting it on him, yet maybe he's more poised than a 25-year-old, and he just was unflappable. And I was sitting there, I'm talking to him like I'm talking to a 5-year veteran in the league, because we started talking football X's and O's, and he handled it and just kept playing, and we kept chipping away. Had we got a couple stops, we would have been right back in it. So I was really proud of him. I can't wait to see him develop. And the first thing he did when we met at that camp, after our very first meeting last Thursday night, you know what he said to me? He said, Coach, can I get your phone number? And you know why he did it? Is in case he wanted to check with anything about a play or anything. I didn't ask him if he wanted it. He asked for it. Because he wanted to make sure that the communication lines were there. In an Army All-American game, he's got a scholarship already sewn up, and he still wanted to do it. His mom gave us our speech in the locker room, because she's a U.S. Army. She's in the U.S. Army. Awesome. And she came in a locker room, and she was in her, fitted out in her fatigues, and looked great, and was talking, protect my baby tonight. And he kind of smiled and went out there and threw for 5 touchdowns. So I was impressed with everything. I can't wait to see his development. I had to caution myself and say, Sean, slow down. This kid just barely learned how to drive, but he took us down the field a handful of times. He made every throw that we needed him to make in different ways. LSU fans should be awfully excited.
Awesome. Sean Salisbury is our guest. Didn't know we were going there, man, but so glad we did. Oh, what a great perspective on Colin Hurley. So much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.